hey, it's Sean Shapiro, here we go. Knows the road rules better than most folks know. Ask your questions, bring the heat or keep it chill. He's got the answers and a license to spill. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. Former badge, now a podcast star. Navigating traffic laws near and far. Stop sign confusions or a signal light feud. Sean's the one to give you the right attitude. Yeah! Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie. Knows the stuff and things to keep you clear. Ask away, he's the voice you want to hear. From this man. Ask a traffic cop, Sean's your guy. Breaking it down, no lie, no tie.
Hey, good morning and happy Tuesday morning, because while Tuesdays are normally the after dark days, we're switching things around so I am less tired in the morning. And because Jerry wanted to go live this morning. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And I am here to answer your traffic and police questions, traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. I'm here for you. If you got questions, throw them in the chat. That's how we see them. And there's so much that I want to unpack here. So much. Has anyone seen what happened with this big bill that was being presented by the provincial government in terms of whether or not to scrap the automated speed enforcement camera system? I haven't read the whole thing. I've just been watching it in the news and waiting patiently to see what happens on that. I'm obviously for traffic safety, and that means I'm for traffic cameras. A lot of people don't like them, and you're entitled not to like them. People who don't like them usually don't like the tickets they get from them. But hey, we can't all drive legally, I guess. Anyway, if you got questions and comments on that particular topic, I'd love to hear from you. But anywhere you are, your stuff matters. Now, and I mean that, whether you walk, ride, or drive, there's stuff in this show for you. Just a quick shout out to my friends from Diamond & Diamond. They're the law firm that is our major sponsor on the show, and they help keep us on the air along with Barrett Legal. Thanks to them. They're magical people in their own particular specialties. Barrett Legal specializes in tax law, and Diamond & Diamond happens to be the largest personal injury lawyer firm or law firm in the country. That's a pretty heavy duty title, I think. And if you would be so kind, if you're watching on the magic of TikTok, please hit the likes, tap the screen till your fingers go numb. Likes help more people come to the party. The more people come to the party, the more questions that you didn't think to ask get asked. And that's how the show gets awesome. At 10:35, we're going to be joined by my friends on the Jerry Agar show, namely Jerry Agar. See how that works? He's going to join at 10:35. We're going to talk about stuff and things. It's always awesome to have Jerry, and he brings his radio audience. You can phone in, you can call in, you can do all sorts of stuff like that. And actually, I want to make sure that the automation works. Automation. Wrong. That's the mini deck. Hold on a second. Oh, is that button actually working? Look at that. Diamond & Diamond Lawyers. See, I had a button. I didn't press it. What is this one? That's my name. That's not. Oh, I didn't program. See, I started program. I've got a new computer. I got a Mac Mini, M4 Mac Mini. Of course, they're going to come up with an M5 in 10 seconds. So whatever. I bought an M4 Mac Mini to be a dedicated show streaming computer as opposed to using my laptop. And I think that is the way to go. the best bang for the buck for under $1,000, well under $1,000 for the base one, and that's all I'm using. I have a machine that is, well, 4 generations newer than my laptop, which is pretty crazy. I'm not trying to spend insane money, although everything is expensive. I am trying to do this conservatively. I think this is the first money I've really spent in terms of hardware in years, because I used my personal computer for a long time when I was with the Toronto Police, because the Toronto Police didn't have appropriate hardware to support what I wanted to do. They did eventually buy their own stuff, but anyway, I digress. We got a question from Mark Anthony, who wants to know if it's illegal to add stickers on your rear glass of your vehicle. So this is the rear windshield. Is it called a windshield? Is it a window? What is it called? I think it's just called rear glass. I don't know if there's a technical term. However, it's not illegal to have something on your back window. It is illegal to have something in that obstructs the driver's view in the front. The law says that you have to have a clear view to the rear. Does that mean you can't have a sticker of any kind? No. It means that if you have mirrors to the left and right, then you can see with your rear or side view mirrors, you can see to the back. A sticker on your rear window really isn't an issue. Think about panel trucks, cargo vans. They don't even have rear windows in most cases. So no, it's not a requirement to have a perfectly clear view. Is it a benefit? Absolutely. The more you can see, the better. If you can get a rear sticker that's not perforated, but if it has the dots on it, so that at a distance it looks good, but at a close up it's got dithering or dots on it, so you can see through it. That would be a safety benefit. But either way, it's legal. Now, here's something that you may not consider, depending on the size of the rear window. Thanks, Tracy. And Mark Anthony says window shield, rear window shield. Either way, the debate continues. The story is that if you no, what the heck was I going to say? If you can see out of the rear window, it's a benefit to you. So I would do that for safety. But what I was getting at is your insurance company. If you're seen to be advertising for a brand, if it's your company logo on the rear window, you might be impacting your insurance. You might be requiring a commercial insurance policy because now you're using it as a company vehicle. I'm not an insurance person. I can't tell you for sure, but I do know that a while back there was a company that was willing to pay people to park their personal vehicles in different places throughout the city, and they'd pay them because they'd wrap their car. So it was a way of making money on your vehicle. However, insurance companies got on the scene and said, "Hey, hang on, that's not the use that you agreed to. You're changing your vehicle for purposes of making money, and that changes where you fall into the category of insurance." Again, not an insurance professional myself. However, I pay insurance, and I'm interested to know stuff and things about this so that I don't pay more insurance. And I just want you to be informed. So know before you go. That's the story. Okay, I want to do one little thing here. And so I don't want to do overlays. Stand by. I should have had a video to play while I screwed around with this. But what else do I want to talk about? I think I'm buying a new watch. I have been using the Apple Watch Ultra since it came out. I remember the first time it was seen on camera, and someone said, "Oh my God, you bought an Apple Watch!" I'm like, "Yeah, I finally upgraded my old one. And I got this one. Now it's 3 generations old, and I'm thinking my dad needs an upgrade." And we've kind of done this thing where I buy new tech, and the tech that I hand down goes to somebody else in the family. Everybody else has an Apple Watch. My dad has an ancient Apple Watch, and I think it's time to upgrade him to a new one. So I might just buy the new Ultra 3 and give him my Ultra 1. Do you do the same thing with tech? Do you hand me down technology? Because it's got to, even though I like the newest stuff, not everybody else needs the newest stuff. I mean, they may want the newest stuff, but does anyone else need it? Okay. Run scene. This is I want to give here. This is the button I'm looking for. Stand by as my technological issues become your technological issues. I just want to be able to set the Jerry Agar segment on. Okay. One more second. Run scene. I'm using if you didn't know this, I have a Stream Deck. And Stream Deck is an awesome tool. It allows me to hit a button and it just does stuff. There we go. I done programmed it good. Okay. I press a button, and when Jerry comes on the show, Jerry's face will be on the show. Isn't that awesome? 416-872-1010 is the telephone number to call or text in Toronto, in the GTA, and wherever 416 isn't a long distance. But if you do want to call into the show and you are from elsewhere, far, far away, 1-877-518-5151 is the number. So you can do that. And Jennifer and Austin, thanks for the follow. Dave Jensen, I think it's Jensen. We see you. And Andrew, Carl Freeman, hello. Liliana, how you doing? Let's see. Oh, we got Keenan, who has a question. He says, or they say, I use my tech till it dies. Like, for instance, my phone is 4 years old and the battery is dying and I want to upgrade anyway. So then the next question is, what tech are you going with? I have ordered an iPhone 17 Pro Max. I waited. I was not in a rush. I wanted to see what was going on. I didn't want to spend the money. Now I have a 14 Pro Max. I've waited through the 15 and 16 and said, I'm going to do the 17. And that gets us into a whole different discussion. Yes, I waited a long time. I think it's time to buy it. So I bought it. I'm waiting for it. I think I should get it next week. The question is, what color do you order? Because I wanted the orange, and then everything I have is blue. So I was going to get the blue. And then I went to the Apple store and saw a blue one on display, scratched up. So a little bit of digging says that the silver is the one that shows scratches the least. And thus, I ordered the silver. It's the first time I've ordered a non-black phone since the iPhone came out and had options of color. Because, black is best. When it comes to iPhones, I think it's the best looking phone. Just saying. We've got Julie, who says, good morning. Good morning, Sean, to be more specific. Greetings and salutations, and hi to Jerry from Michaela Draconis. We've got Jerry Joe, who says, good morning, Sean. Love to listen to you in the morning. Good morning, Jerry Joe. Appreciate you. And what do you think of this reverso time coming on at 10 o'clock a.m. on Tuesday instead of 9 p.m.? I will be joining tomorrow night at 9 p.m. to do the late night after dark. That's going to happen still. Let's see here. We got Gord Shumway, Alf, says, what about perforated vinyl? That's what I was talking about with rear window. Gord says, get a nice Rolex GMT like Magnum had. The Pepsi, yes, we had a conversation. Gord Shumway is in Montreal, if I remember correctly, and we had a whole discussion because we're fans of Magnum PI and all things great like chips, and that's what Magnum wore. Not in the beginning. Originally, I think he wore a Seiko dive watch, and then he switched to a Magnum. Magnum switched to a Rolex Pepsi GMT. GMT is a cool watch, a little small for my liking. I like a bigger watch, but I would take a Pepsi, no question. Let's see here. I got some more from Jerry Joe and Akela Draconis, but I want to come back here because let's see here. Just to finish off on the technology topic, we got Akela, who says, I usually run my tech until it's dead unless my needs require new specs. That's reasonable. See, what I do is I hand down. So my 14's going to get handed down. My daughter's going to get a new one. My wife's going to get, everyone's going to trickle down. Trickle down technology. Yes. Okay. Jerry Joe will come back to you in a second. Keenan says his brother got the iPhone 17. I don't like it, so I'm going to go with the 16. Interesting perspective. I wonder what in the 17 was offensive to you. Was it what was it? What didn't you like? And Dee good to see you. We've been talking about driving in their community because there's some people who are doing some not so nice things in their community, and we were talking about that. So that's cool. You can always write to me. You can send me email at askatraffic. Actually, it's better to go voiceovercop@gmail.com. I monitor that because it's me. But then I've got the email address of askatrafficcop@gmail, and that's more for sending stuff show related or live stream related. Okay. With that, let's go to John LX Lorenz, maybe? John Lorenz? Okay. Hey, Sean, is it legal to drive through a gas station to skip a red light? Not specifically. If you were to enter a parking lot for the purposes of looking at the price of gasoline or checking to see if a store was open and continue through, if you were to do it unsafely, if a police officer saw you just jump, Dukes of Hazzard over if you were to go in through dangerously, that's different. If you were to drive through the parking lot reasonably and safely and come to a complete stop before crossing the crosswalk on the other, not crosswalk, but the sidewalk on the other side, and then re-enter safely the road, you haven't really done anything wrong. Now, if it says no trespassing and you're now violating a trespass sign, there's other things that could come into play. But simply entering the property and then changing your mind would not necessarily be illegal. Uh, yes, Keenan follows up on the iPhone 17. He doesn't like the fact that it scratches so easily. It's the first one that's aluminum in a while. The last one was titanium. It does scratch like crazy. So I've already ordered my case. Actually, I've got my case along with an applique to go over the hump for the camera hump, the island of the back of the phone. So anyway, I don't disagree with you. I'm really not happy about the scratchicity, the easy scratchation. I don't know what we're going to call it. We're going to come up with some weird name for it. And you're very welcome, John, who thanks me for the answer to the question. Tracy says, I have the blue one, gorgeous color, and have a clear case. That's the new iPhone 17? Oh, yes. Tracy says, thanks for giving me a heads up on the time switch. I didn't give her a heads up on the time switch. Yeah. Okay. If you're watching, you don't know who I am. My name is Sean Chipper. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day, even if I'm not online for you to hear. I'm a little bit obsessed with traffic safety. I write articles. I started a not-for-profit called Better Traffic Safety and Education. It's actually called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, Inc. I should update that logo on screen because it's not accurate. So many cool things that I'm trying to get into and be able to provide more to you, the magical audience. Do me a favor. Please follow me on all platforms. YouTube, we're getting really close to that 1,000 mark. Instagram. Also, did you see the ad? It's a video that that I did in cooperation with Sirius XM. It's a video that I talk about attitude because I think it's one of the number one things that influences driving behavior. If you have a good attitude or a bad attitude. Now, what's interesting is the Sirius X, and this is not an ad. This is just me talking to you because I think it's legitimately interesting. They did something called the Sirius XM Canadian Commute Study, and in that they found out that 35%, they said more than a third, of drivers have had their commute get worse over the last year. Yeah, it sucks. It's terrible. Except if you can make your car the place you want to spend time because it's your you time, uh, then it's not so bad. Even if you're spending a ridiculous amount of time in the car, and I used to. Remember, I'm the guy that took 40 minutes to get to work and that's 2 hours on average to get home. Unless it snowed, then it was like 3 hours. And the distance hadn't changed, just the ridiculousness of traffic congestion and bad driving. So, not my bad driving, by the way, everybody else's. Just pointing that out. The reason I bring it up is I was listening to podcasts. I didn't care if it took me 2 hours. I was prepared for that. I was mindset ready. So if it took me a long time to get home, big deal. It is what it is. All right. What do we got here? Okay. Jerry Joe 789 said, today morning, I saw a completely normal gray Ford Explorer in the McDonald's parking lot. Out popped a TPS officer in uniform. What are some innovative ways to identify an unmarked vehicle? Don't break the law, and won't matter. We have vehicles of all shapes and sizes. We have SUVs. We have minivans, pickup trucks. Like we are actively looking to not be seen because we want to catch violators when they realize or when they don't realize a police officer is next to them. There should be no warning. There should be no way to identify a vehicle because that's called an unmarked vehicle for a reason. So it's unmarked. There's no real way to identify it. Now, obviously, if you can stare at it long enough and see the light strip inside because they're fully lighted out. When we pull over vehicles, you have to have a full lighting system to safely do that. Now, you don't have to have it. Any flashing light will require you to pull over if it's red and white and whatnot. Red and blue, I should say. That's the new standard for Ontario. In any case, yeah, focus on driving safely, and legally, because then you don't care if there's a police officer there. You're not doing anything wrong, and there's no reason to know whether it's a cop or not. But I appreciate the question. I can understand why you'd want to know. And there's some pretty cool, tricked out trucks. Some of them have additional lights mounted on mirrors and things like that. So if you were really focused looking for one, that might be a clue. Need a little agua here. Gord Shumway, who is retired law enforcement, says in Quebec you cannot go through a parking lot to jump a light. Interesting. I wonder how that's in law. Like I'm not doubting you at all. I'm just curious how they wrote that because um, how does one address that? What would be the charge when you say it's not legal? Under what charge would they lay? Let's see here. Um, would it be Quebec? Actually, you know what? Let's do it differently. Let's. I keep going to my trackball, but I now have a magic pad, and it's OpenAI. I want to ask ChatGPT. I do like ChatGPT. No, I don't want Chat Restream. You silly. No. Now, I go to ChatGPT when I don't know stuff because there are things I don't know. And I must say, I'm thoroughly impressed with it. Now, does it always get it right? No. But it's a great research tool. And a little, Sean's AI tips, ask it to prove it. If you are asking it to research something, that's great. I think it's, I see all these videos saying boomers just use it to Google. Yeah, I use it as Google a lot. And I say, show me links. Give me valid links from valid sources. And then I go read the attached material because it's not enough to say it came from there because it hallucinates. You can't trust everything you read uh, on OpenAI. Although there's lots of different ones. I have other ones as well. Okay. Um, looking for Quebec. Should spell out Quebec right. Quebec law on uh, driving through a parking lot to avoid a red light. Let's see what it says. I want to know. What is this? Ash has a question about as an officer of the law. He says, as an officer of the law, what goes through your mind when you see a slammed car? So, okay, as a former officer, because I have since retired from policing and I am no longer a police officer, thus the former police officer is what you see on screen. What do I see when I see a slammed car? I see a slew of infractions. A slammed car. My first question is, did they do that legally, lawfully? Does that make sense? And how does it feel going over a speed bumper, just driving into a parking lot? It's probably a bad idea on every side of the equation. There's no way it's comfortable. Like I think of all of the things. I think it's like a mind, the mind melt of a Vulcan when they reach over and they touch the head and I'm flooded with all of those questions. Yes. So if I was a police officer, I'd be pulling it over to evaluate the suspension. Up close and personal. Is there any contact between the tire and the frame or body? Because all those things make it unsafe for the road. And if it was unsafe, I would take plates. There you go. Do, do, do. 16, I wasn't paying it. Tony wants to know if lane filtering should be legal. Lane filtering versus lane splitting. Lane splitting is where you're just driving at speed. You're driving between, making your own way between vehicles that are moving. I don't personally have an issue with lane splitting. Sorry, lane filtering. Lane filtering is when you're going low speed safely through stop traffic. I really don't have a problem with that. It's not legal, and you could face issues, and some officers will give you a problem with it that choose to charge you. I never had a problem unless it was done unsafely. So again, lane splitting is where you just make your own lane, and very often that's going to lead to careless driving charges, stunt driving charges, even criminal dangerous driving charges, because you're doing something dangerous. You're driving at high speeds through other vehicles that are also driving at higher speeds. Uh, if the traffic itself, the vehicle, the four-wheel cager traffic is stopped, and you're just sliding forward to get to the front or moving a few car lengths up to avoid being the stop rail for the guy on a cell phone who's not paying attention and drives into the last vehicle. I would hate to see a motorcyclist be the last vehicle to be squished. So in that circumstance, I have no issue with filtering, but other coppers might, because it's not legal specifically. And what many will do is just scoot ahead to the front and then rip off at the front to avoid traffic. And in that situation of just trying to save time, I have an issue with it. If it's for the safety perspective, I don't, but that's me. Okay. If you're watching, you don't already follow me, please do. And please share my content to people who need to know more about driving. That could be anybody in your family or friend group who, is scary, is scary in the road, because that's a thing. Hey, I asked ChatGPT to look about, to see, and let's see here. So he says here, circumventing a traffic signal is the charge under, hang on a second. I'm just reading quickly. Failing to obey a traffic, yes. Turning right on a red, okay. What about, okay, I'm going to ask it. Circumventing, that's what Gord said, Mr. Shumway. It's thinking. We'll come back to it. So, Gord also says he loves Sirius XM. He listens to Yacht Rock Channel. I'm listening to 80s on 8. I love the 80s on 8. I'm an 80s kid, and 80s were the greatest. So 80s on 8 is where I'm at. Interesting thing, TikTok has a radio station or a Sirius XM station. It's satellite radio. It's still radio. Yeah, they have it. It's a TikTok channel, and I listen to it until the music is in a different era. I can't listen to everything on that channel. I'm made for the 80s and 90s, not for the rest. Okay. Gord's also going to email me the thing. So let's see here. Relevant provisions. Section 310 of the Highway Traffic Safety Code states every person must comply with every road or traffic sign or signal erected on a road or highway under this code. Regarding penalties of 3314.2 indicates that the driver who contravenes Section 311, but I don't, okay, he's going to find the section and send it to me because, yeah, ChatGPT isn't picking up what you're putting down, Gord, but who knows? The thing's a living document. It changes all the time. Okay. Back to the magic of TikTok for questions. Because the last thing we talked about was from Tony about lane filtering before we got on a tangent about Quebec and driving off private property. Bandit Fan says, if you're from a different province, can your car get a ticket without a front license plate? Aha. If your vehicle is from a province that doesn't require a front license plate, then Ontario would honor or it gives you an exemption. So Ontario plates, which are issued, two license plates, one that is required to be displayed on the front and one that is required to be displayed on the rear, must have it. But if you are from Quebec, for instance, you are exempt from that. You must have your rear plate because that's what you're issued. Front plate isn't required. Now, we had deliberated this a lot in the office when I was at Traffic Services, and the discussion originally was, well, we wouldn't lay the charge. The truth is, you couldn't lay the charge. Well, you could lay it in error, but you're exempt. You're not required to have a front plate if you don't have a front plate issued to you. Moving on. But thanks for the question, Bandit Fan. It's good to talk about stuff and things like this. I don't know, to be honest. IDKTBH is what the username is. According to HTA laws, to legally run a red light, they need to have lights in all four directions. You are talking about police vehicles clearing to go through a signalized intersection. So you're correct. In order to go through a signalized intersection, a police vehicle must be having 360-degree lights, has to have sirens. That is correct. Now, that means that that a vehicle that only has a red and blue flashing light in the front window is not supposed to go through signalized intersections on a red. It's not safe. Can they conduct a traffic stop? They could. They can absolutely. More often than not, the minivan with the flashing light in the window isn't being used in a pursuit situation. Is not being used even in response situations. That's a detective going to a scene well after an event took place. It's just a way of identifying themselves to other police officers to access closed areas. It's a way to be on closed roads. It's a way to identify as police if they do have to pull someone over, because they are police officers regardless of what vehicle they're in. But you are absolutely correct. It is a requirement to have that 360-degree lights. K Steph 22 says, what's the charge of car theft? Theft over. I don't think there's any additional theft charge under the criminal code for car theft. It's just theft. Yeah. It's theft. it's way over theft, way over $5,000. Let's see here. Okay, let's go back. And then is there a specific charge for motor vehicle theft, really? And I say that with as honestly asking because I've never charged anybody for vehicle theft. I've located lots of stolen vehicles, but I've never arrested someone for stealing a vehicle. It's just something I haven't done. and now I feel left out, like I should have, but I just never came across anybody who stole a car. So let's go into the criminal code. Vehicle, not vehicle. I think my keyboard's gotten worse over time. Okay, motor vehicle theft. 333.1 sub 1. Everyone who commits theft is, if the property is stolen, is a motor vehicle guilty of an offense and a lot. So it's motor vehicle theft. Thank you to I don't know, to be honest, who actually knew, to be honest. See, this is a nice thing. If I would have actually found someone um, and charged them or arrested them, I would have called a detective, and a detective who knew more than me would have said, "Well, you're going to charge them under 333.1," and they would have told me all of the magical answers to that. A cop doesn't have to know everything; they have to know the concepts, and most of the concepts are pretty simple. And this is not to defend the fact that I didn't know. It's just the reality is you can't know everything. My specialty, traffic code, right? I know traffic stuff. I've never done the other stuff because I focused my career on traffic. I've arrested people for other stuff and things, but I always come back to traffic. So I would phone a friend if I was dealing with something like that, and that's a good thing to have, is friends, and that's what the police are. You're friends. They're a big group. You're part of a big group of people who know lots of stuff and things. And the collective knowledge within a police service is amazing. When you start talking about all the old timers and new timers and people who know different stuff and things, it's awesome. Redneck followed. Tony followed. Horse thief, different charge, followed. And Aaron, not Aaron, but Aaron followed. Thanks for the follows, guys. Red Dog Forge says, how many miles per hour over does someone have to be driving on the interstate before you pull them over? So based on you saying miles per hour and interstate, two terms that we don't generally use in Canada, I'm going to tell you that I don't know what the state specific charge is going to be in your state. Where are you? Because I know in Virginia, 20 miles over is a misdemeanor. Like, it's criminal and you're going to jail. I know this only because a friend of mine was taken in handcuffs to court and had to have a bail hearing right then and there. Yeah, no bueno. So that's Pennsylvania. Don't speed in Pennsylvania because they don't take kindly to folks doing that. Just saying. They're cracking down, and they have been for many years. In Ontario, it would have to be deemed dangerous. It's not a specific speed that makes it dangerous, because 50 kilometers over, let's see here, just so I'm not giving you inaccurate stuff. No, that's not right. 50. So basically just over 30 miles an hour would be stunt driving, and in some cases less, but depending if you're on a road with a speed limit under 80. That would be the magic of having your car seized and your license suspended, but not necessarily thrown in jail or arrested. I mean, it's technically an arrest. Stunt driving, you can be arrested for stunt driving, but you wouldn't be held generally unless you had other stuff going on. But you could absolutely be charged with criminal dangerous driving if the driving that you are doing ought to be known or is known to be dangerous to others, which is not a big stretch. It really could be like you doing 50 over in a school zone. You could be arrested for criminal dangerous, 100%. Just depends on the officer's ability to articulate their grounds for arrest. Why? Why were you? Why? And then would you do time in jail, or would you just get a promise to appear type situation? Probably going to be released with a promise to appear. All right. Just to let you know, in about 2 minutes, we're going to hear from Radio Control. Look at that. As I said it, they arrived. Hang on a second. Let's test the connection. Howdy. I don't hear you. Do you hear me? I don't hear nothing. We're just testing right now. I've got them up. I don't know if your microphone's here. If you're
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. Let's put the Jerry screen on and let everybody know that we're talking to Control, and 416-872-1010 is where you can phone or text. And ask your questions through the Jerry Agar Show.
Awesome. Thank you. We're coming up in about 30 seconds. I am hearing a little bit of
A loop?
yeah, just a little bit of feedback. I can hear myself.
That's not good. Let me see why.
Okay.
We'll figure this out in the meantime. That is odd. Oh, I think I know why.
They purchase. We need to sell our current home to pay for the new one. Most of us don't have $1 million just sitting around somewhere, but what happens if you can't sell your home? The closing dates don't match,
and we're just going to do a very, very quick conversation between Jerry and our program director, Robert Turner, because apparently Robert is in for the Blue Jays tickets. So we're going to see if he got in and what's available.
Okay.
And I'm not hearing myself anymore.
Oh, you're not hearing yourself anymore?
No, I'm not hearing myself. So I think we're okay.
I didn't do anything though. I didn't fix it.
Okay. Don't worry, I
as
won't
long
tell
as it's
anybody.
okay, we're good.
We're coming up.
Sweet. And we're just going to keep chatting in the meantime. If you want to call into the show, 416-872-1010. If you want to text in, you can use the same number. If you are out of the area but want to call in, toll free, 1-877-518-5151.
Sean Shapiro, the TikTok traffic cop, is going to join me in just a few moments. He'll take some of your questions, but we'll talk about traffic control for big events such as we're anticipating on Friday. But Robert Turner started out number, 37,000 or something to get tickets. What's happening now?
I just got in.
Okay, you're in.
It literally just switched the screen.
Okay,
I
all right.
went from 1 to I'm in.
So what's available?
Everything, all of the primary tickets are gone. So these are all verified resale tickets now.
Uh-huh.
So the top listing is for section 512, row 10, at a mere $2,174.63.
They bring your binocular seats.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, just for giggles then, before we go to Sean Shapiro here, why don't you just go down to see what it would cost you to sit in the 100s just for fun?
Okay. Let me filter that for you.
Somebody just wrote in and said this might be a good time to go see the Raptors.
Okay, so the top seats right now that are available resale here, section 27, row 8, just under $8,000.
Wow. And those tickets will be sold. Now, I wonder if sometimes what happens is somebody bought those tickets to resell, they jack the price like that, and it doesn't sell, and they just end up going to the game.
Or sell it for less.
Well,
hey, Sean.
Hi there.
Oh, I just wanted to confirm I got your levels. I saw your mouth moving. I just wasn't seeing levels on our end.
Okay. No, I'm glad that we're. I wasn't talking over Jerry. I didn't know if he would hear us if we did, and so we just being sort of in the pause waiting.
Okay. No, that was my bad. I wasn't sure, and I was like, oh, did we lose him? But no, we're good.
We're good. How long is this segment going to continue? Because maybe you put us on mute.
Be like the same thing.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story.
I have no idea. It's probably
so maybe just mute him and then bring us back if you don't mind. Bring us back when you're ready, and then I'll keep answering questions in the meantime.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Years ago, a young lady worked
muted.
for one of the baseball teams.
Don't mute us, mute him. There we go. Thank you very much. All right. Just going back to some questions. What do we got here? Of course, I'm going to get to a question and we're going to get Jerry back, but all right. Ash says, thank you. Okay. How many miles? Okay. We talked about this. How many miles over? We covered that because we were saying could be criminal dangerous, but that's no good. But how fast over the speed limit do you have to go before you get pulled over? Most people believe it's about 20 kilometers an hour and you're safe. No. I would say that's not a guarantee. And you should be very careful if you're choosing to speed, because any speed over the posted limit you're in the game. You're eligible for a ticket.
It's perspective.
I think we're back.
Let's join Sean Shapiro, the TikTok traffic cop, former TikTok traffic cop. Good morning.
Good morning, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Let's talk about this aspect of traffic. What kind of planning is going on, and how does the city and the traffic department prepare for something like Friday?
You mean a mess? This is where you bring in all available units on duty, overtime callbacks that can be deployed and dedicated to the area to control intersections, so that they can have some semblance of order. Because when everybody wants to leave at the same time, nobody's going anywhere fast. So
Right.
they shut down the roads, make them one way only, and control the lights to keep the traffic flowing out onto the highways. And it does work really well. I worked a lot of the games at Bremner and Spadina, I think where it was. And that traffic signal is a mess because it's 3 stages. We would just hold it open and flush cars.
Okay, now you're dealing with cars and pedestrians. You have to manage both.
Absolutely, and the pedestrians are a huge issue for the cars and vice versa. So it's about having a meaningful movement of vehicles and holding pedestrians, and then holding vehicles and allowing pedestrians, and trying to make it as fair as possible. The pedestrians have some great options by using some underground, tunnels and path systems. Those are great, but very rarely do people who are from out of town know what those options are, and they just flood the streets, and it's a mess. And sometimes we just have to hold everything because you can't control everyone all the time.
Well, there have to be cops there controlling the pedestrians because they take the attitude that they have the right of way and they just don't care.
Absolutely. But you'll find that the officers tend to be in the intersections, and then people will just, I mean, they'll climb over trees. Like they go whatever which way they can go. So, the big thing to ask is that people take safety as a priority, and follow the direction of police officers on the ground. They're there for your safety and to try and get you out as quickly as possible.
Well, I have been in circumstances, Sean, in various different cities where I've gone to events, whether it was a sporting event or a concert event, and there certainly can be a difference between how various cities handle it. And it may be partly the setup of the city in the first place, but I've been in circumstances where it takes an hour and a half to get away from the venue, and I've been in circumstances where we go, are we out already? This was incredible.
I've fortunately been working those events as opposed to attending the events, and I think that it goes really smoothly overall. But the initial desire to leave, where everybody wants to go, my personal feelings are find something interesting to do close by, whether you book a meal or something where you're not part of the mess. And what I've often done, and I see many people doing it with me, is leave early. Leave just before the end if you can. Now, if it's the World Series and it's the final,
Well, that's not
you
going to
might be
happen.
waiting.
What kind of advice
I just
is
take a
that?
different approach.
I never leave early.
No,
No, and last night a lot of people wouldn't leave at all.
no kidding.
Like they have to be sort of herded out of there. They were all you could hear them in the background singing. What's that song? Would you be my girl? Hey, hoo, ha! They were just in the stands continuing to sing that song that they do all the time at the game.
Well,
So,
that might be, something that was done to strategically get them interested in staying, so that we would help traffic. That was probably a very intelligent traffic officer who started that chant.
all right. Okay. And another side question on this. Do people who live in the area have a right to be unhappy when everybody from outside of their area invades to attend a game and they're just coming home from dinner or something and they can't get anywhere?
It is the cost of living in that area. It's a great place to be. You got all the nightlife and great food options. And whenever there's a major event, you're tortured. And I've had great conversations with folks who live in the buildings surrounding the Sky Dome. I still call it the Sky Dome. And
Yeah.
it's and they're very unhappy. Now they have, most traffic is kept out. If you don't live there, you can't get in. But you're still in the mix of terrible traffic. There's full road closures generally, but if you have your ID from the building, you can get in. But yeah, it's a punishment, and it's the cost of doing business there. Can you really be given the latitude to be unhappy? You chose to live there. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, well, I guess in many cases, the stadium was there before you moved into the condo building, so it's kind of like the people who live next to the airport, I guess. All right, let's do some the kinds of questions that we do, and you're kind enough to stick around for the next segment as well to answer just traffic questions. And this one we've never had before, Sean. When walking on a road with no sidewalk, should I walk facing traffic or away from traffic?
You're legally required to walk facing traffic, and for good reason. You want to see what's coming, and it's not enough to just say the driver's going to see you, especially if you're not wearing reflective or bright clothing. So yeah, walking contraflow, walking towards traffic at the side of the road is what's required if there's no sidewalk. And if there is a sidewalk, use the sidewalk.
That's an actual law?
It is an actual law. I can look it up for you, so I can give you the section if anyone's interested to
no.
find that.
I'll take your word for it. And we will be taking questions. And if you want to call in and talk to Sean Shapiro, it's 416-872-1010 in the next segment, 416-872-1010. And you can call toll free at 877-518-5151, 518-5151. Here's a question. Is it okay to speed if you're late for the World Series game?
I'm sure that if you were playing in it, you'd be calling your friends at the Toronto Police to help you along. But no, speeding is never legal unless you have that police, fire, and ambulance authority. And even then, there are conditions for some of those users.
Okay, I think Springer's arriving on a horse. Isn't that what's going on? That's something that they put together with the police, actually. Okay, so Sean Shapiro is here. He'll take your traffic questions coming up in just a moment on News Talk 1010. It's 10:45. News Talk 1010, time saver traffic.
Section 179, pedestrian fail to walk on the left side of highway. I think we were still live when I was talking. My apologies to Jerry. I thought we were muted and thus started speaking. Okay, let's get back into some of your questions while we wait to do the second segment with Jerry. And I just left Akela Draconis on there with Jerry. Okay. What do we have here? Tony, who says, what do you think is the most common cause of collisions in the GTA? Oh, that's a deep question. I think the primary issue is distraction. And you've got impairment that's up there, but primary is distraction. Most people are fiddling with things, reading, putting makeup, eating. Obviously, the number one is distracted by their devices. They're on their phones, and you don't have to be technically on a device to be distracted. Distracted driving laws deal with the handheld communication, handheld entertainment, or screen visible to driver, but you can just be off in space, just thinking about not driving. And a lot of people are just out to lunch and then they hit something. So you've got that. But speed is a factor in almost all of the collisions. Not all, but almost all. Very often, speed is a factor, especially when we see the ones that turn to tragedy. So I think distraction is number one, but I think that a secondary contributing factor is speed. And especially if you have speed and distraction, what a horrible combination. I find people constantly are discussing or trying to justify that speed isn't a big deal. And it is a big deal. If you have a minor oopsie-doo at low speed, you have a lot of time to correct it before impact. You have no time at speed. Anyway, if you are interested in joining the show by way of asking questions to Jerry as opposed to texting it in to the comment section, you can call 416-872-1010. Doing that by text or phone will allow you to chat about stuff and things on the air. If you're out of town, you want to call in 1-877-518-5151. That is an option for you. Okay, let's see what else is in the chat while we're waiting for Jerry to come back from commercial break. And if you're watching and if you don't know who I am, I'm tripping over my tongue right now. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And we're on the air right after this commercial break with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. I had to look at him when I said that. Hey, Jerry. All right. We've got Jeremy Sharkey, who says, I live near Parliament. Expect protests. Live near stadium. Expect crowds. That's just what it is. And Jeremy, you're absolutely correct. It's one of those things where you either get used to it or you move. It's not fair. It's not the protests, especially that stuff. It's just really bugs me that people think that whatever their opinion or whatever topic is they want covered should trump everybody else's enjoyment of everything. It's terrible. Okay. When can I stop on the road for a danger, like a garbage can on the road? Can I stop and move it? That's a really good question. What if you come across something and you think it's a good idea because you're worried about somebody else hitting it and you want to stop and help? I would suggest 311 and keep driving. I've done it where I stopped. I put the lights on. I made a determination. If that was the highway, I would not suggest doing it. In fact, I would suggest anything but, because even if you were to successfully slow down without being hit and a few cars passed you, the distracted guy that we just talked about would run right into you. If you're on the highway stopped, I would suggest staying in your vehicle with a seatbelt on and the engine running. If you couldn't get off the road, but never would I suggest hanging out waiting for someone to move it. And I don't think you should ever get out of your car on the highway to do something yourself. So that's a thing. On a side road, on a major road, could you do it? Sure. It's not unreasonable. In fact, you're trying to help everybody. It's for safety that you're doing it. But again, you have to make a determination as to what's safe for you and what's going on all the way around. Jeremy goes on to say, I think a lady got charged when stopping for ducks on the road. If you can, well, first of all, very often you're required to. Signage is there to say beware of it. Stopping for ducks on the road is not. You don't run over a line of ducks. You pay attention, you slow down, and the person behind you is responsible to pay attention for your brake lights and slow down too. Now, if the duck ran out into the road, gave you the finger, and decided to hold up traffic, and you had to come to a screeching halt to avoid killing that fluffy ducky, whatever it was, Bill. I don't know what name to give the duck. Then that would be a different situation. Then you take the duck out. Duck's going to go. That's a bad day for fluffy ducky Bill. If you hammer the brakes, it has to be reasonable. You're responsible for the movement of your motor vehicle. So again, if you can pay attention, you're looking off into the horizon, you see the ducks, you come to a gradual stop. That's reasonable. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're locking it up to avoid killing a duck, it's you're responsible. That's unsafe operation. And Jeremy goes on to say that in that situation, he says, I live near agriculture. Spring is loud in the AM. It is what it is. Okay. And then he goes on to say that if a motorcycle hit the back of the car that stopped for the duck on the highway and the cyclist died, the motorcyclist, he corrects it, that may have slammed on the brakes or something. Yeah. Again, that's a perfect example. And that driver who stopped for the ducks to be a good Samaritan and not hurt, Bill the duck, that was wrong. And life was lost for it. They're absolutely responsible. Goat. Oh, wait, tinted. Hoots wants to know.
Us and more questions in just a moment and your calls. But coming up, I'm going to do a kind of a special.
No, we're not back. I thought we were coming back. We'll be back in a moment. Maybe that was just a heads up. So, how do you feel that the Blue Jays won? Did they win? They actually won? Is it finished? No, it's not finished yet. I guess is it finished? No, it can't be. We're talking about traffic in the area. You can tell how much I've been following this, other than I saw a superintendent with the Toronto Police post a World Series hat and coin on LinkedIn today. But let's go back to Hoots, who had a question about, are tinted taillights illegal? And the answer is depends. They have to be.
So good to have Sean Shapiro along, and with a question. Here's Brad. What's your question, Brad?
Yeah, hi. Are the speed limit signs, the orange ones on the on and off ramp, legally binding?
Those are cautionary signs based on what an engineer determines is the appropriate speed to not leave the on-ramp and go off into the dirt, based on ideal conditions. The speed limits on the highway are technically the speed limits on the on-ramp. So those are cautionary. They're there for your safety. You won't get a ticket for going faster, but you might find yourself in a field.
All right, Brad, thanks very much. It's always a contest to see when you're on a motorcycle, Sean, and you're a motorcycle rider as well. If the sign says the ramp is 30, you could do 40, 50 on a motorcycle. 60.
You can drag your knee on some bikes, and many do. I have the nuts that hold the rubber on my floorboards have been scraped absolutely flat. So I grind those on corners.
Yeah, that puckers you up the first time that happens, I can tell you. Here's John. What's your question?
The high beam, the new LED lights on the cars, aftermarket, are they legal? And is it okay if I drive with my high beams on because of these cars?
So you most definitely cannot drive with your high beams on. You must be in low beam, and you have specific times when you have to turn them off when you're riding behind another vehicle or having another vehicle approach in oncoming traffic. So that's something that they're directed in a different angle. It's not just about brightness. They're actually, high beams are directed higher to give you more visibility. Now, in terms of these LED bulbs, factory bulbs are passing the requirements. Aftermarket stuff you buy on Amazon, they're not, and their construction is such that they're actually throwing light differently, and they're generally not going to be passing the same safeties. So they very much can be considered improper or illegal. If you're going to buy an LED aftermarket, make sure you're buying a proper bulb replacement system.
Right. So can you get a ticket for the people that have the wrong ones?
If you're not directing light properly, if you're blinding drivers, then an officer should be investigating you and laying charge for improper headlights. Now, just because you have bright headlights doesn't mean that they're illegal. It would involve determining that based on their investigation. But if they're pulling you over, it's probably because you're doing something wrong and they're not meeting the requirements for safety.
All right, John. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good to have your call. This is an interesting one here, and a specific highway. Highway 6 running between Burlington and Guelph, this person writes, is a 4-lane highway, 2 lanes going north, 2 lanes going south, with no median in the middle. Speed limit is 80K. On a stretch of highway like this, with multiple lanes, do you need to pull over to the side when an emergency vehicle is coming?
If it is undivided, meaning the only division is a painted line, then absolutely vehicles in both directions have to come to a stop, pull over as quickly and safely as possible and come to a stop when emergency vehicles are coming through. And the only time you don't have to for oncoming traffic is when you have a situation like the 401 where it's clearly divided, 2 one-way roads where vehicles could in no situation cross over. And then you wouldn't have to for oncoming traffic, but you would still have to pull over if an emergency vehicle was coming up from behind.
All right, so Sue in Brampton writes in, is it legal to make a U-turn at a green or red light? I see this happening all the time.
So it depends if it's, one, safe to do so and not prohibited by sign. So you can, not on a red light. You obviously, a red light means stop and don't go until it's green. You can be charged for proceed before green if you were to make that U-turn in the midst of a red light or while a red light's being presented to you. But if there's no left turn lane or no left turn permissible, then I would say that also a no U-turn or a U-turn is not permissible either, because the first half of the turn is a left turn before you UE. It's something that I consider dangerous in general. Many collisions have been caused because someone decided to make a left turn or a U-turn when it wasn't the best option, and there's no undo button. So I just wouldn't do it. I would find other ways of getting to turn around.
Okay, so this happened with me once. I came up to a red light. I'd gone too far. I'd missed a turn. I had to go back. We were going to a restaurant or something. And so I did a U-turn at the intersection. And my wife got mad at me. So my question to you, Sean, is would I have been smarter to just not make the U-turn?
Listen, you're obviously here to talk about it. So if there's no negative, there's no problem almost.
No, my wife was mad at me. That's what I'm talking about.
Now, it's the point where they put up signs saying U-turns permitted because we're trying to encourage in some situations or locations where it is a good idea or where it is safe to do so. So at the end of the day, you as the driver have to both ensure that you are safe and that you are compliant with the laws and signage. If you are unsafe and caused a collision, you're going to wear it. That's going to be you at fault 100%. If you if nothing happened and no one was around, then you're going to have to just deal with your wife being mad at you.
All right. Here's a text message. I recently saw 2 motorcycles with neon green headlamps. Are those legal?
You cannot project neon green forward. You can only project white and amber. And even then, white light for the headlight is the dominant color. So yeah, green light, anything tinting the projected light would be illegal.
This is an interesting question. We've never had anything like this one before. How old do you have to be to drive a tractor down a busy road? I passed what looked like a 13-year-old driving a combine on the 410.
So for farming purposes, they can operate vehicles on farm equipment and crossing roads. I think you have to be 14 or 16. I say think because I'm not entirely sure. I've got a friend who's a copper who also sidelines as a farmer, and he'd be the right guy to get that answer for you. But my understanding is it's either 14 or so to cross the road, but to drive down the road, I think you have to be a licensed driver, but I could be wrong.
Can you take farming equipment on the 400 highways?
No, I don't think you can on 400 highways. I may have missed that. No, I don't think you could be on a controlled access highway with farming equipment. Although what very often you see is equipment for cutting the grass on either side of the road, and they'll trailer that onto the highway and then run it down the strip and then remove it by way of a trailer.
All right. Sean Shapiro, the TikTok former traffic cop, is busy dispensing information like this on a regular basis. So how do people find you?
You can go to askatrafficcop.ca for the show, and you can get me on all social media platforms at VoiceOverCop.
Sean Shapiro, we'll talk soon. Thanks very much.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
A special guest coming up on Party for Two on News Talk 1010.
And we'll get back to the regular show of stuff and things. Let me just oh, they removed themselves. Magical. Okay. It's always fun to join Jerry and talk about stuff with his audience. It's always interesting too, because I was not prepared for a question about driving a combine. And I'm going to text my friend who's the farmer and see what the story is. And I've probably had this conversation. I know I've had this conversation. I don't remember. And that's like I said earlier, I don't know everything. I know lots of stuff and things. And for the things I don't know, I phone a friend. Okay. Nicholas Rizzi, who says, what are the odds that the people of Toronto will act civilized and respectful when the Toronto Blue Jays win or lose the World Series? I will accept street parties, fireworks, and one police car flipped over, but that's it. I don't want to wake up to, what does he say here? I don't want to wake up to what Toronto would look like if Thanos snapped his fingers. Interesting perspective. I will, I should probably preface these statements from my comedian friend, Nicholas Rizzi. But yeah, we've seen some really crappy behavior from people in the past. We get that people are happy or sad or both, depending on the outcome of games and that they're really passionate about. However, destroying our city is not okay. If you're going to be out and about and enjoy, please do so responsibly and don't break stuff. It's not okay. I see the videos afterwards, and it's always a crap show. Okay. Dad jokes for later, which is actually pretty much like now. What time is it? Oh yeah, we've been doing this for an hour. I've got an appointment I got to go to, so I got to go to the office. Who'd have thunk? I have the office in the basement to avoid going to the office, which then has me doing the show in my basement and then going to the office anyway. I have a studio in the office. I could have just gone there, but yeah, I want it to be comfortable. Okay, we got oh, clarification. That didn't just win. They are the American League champions. Now they face the Dodgers for the World Series. Okay, things I didn't know because I don't follow sports. Oh God, Nicholas says no. I'm not going to read that. I put it on screen. It's not. Did I get it? It's like I got one fly. No, I didn't get it. I have these giant lights in the basement, and I think they bring flies from next door. That's all I can think of. I don't know. One fly. I don't even know what it's eating here. Maybe it's not a fly. Maybe it's eating the carpet. Carpet fly. Okay. Let's see here. We got boom, boom, boom. Okay. Game 1 is Friday night. That's Jeremy who clarified. In Arizona, you can make a U-turn at a red light as long as you do not enter the intersection. How do you not enter the intersection on a red light? I guess you're U-turning before the red light, which is not crossing a red light. So that's from user, lots of numbers. The question that came from the caller was, or from Jerry, I should say, is, well, it was by text. And anyway, can you enter the intersection to make the U-turn? Because we generally have light standard. Like, how would you make a U-turn without entering the intersection? As soon as you cross the line, you've entered the intersection according to the law. And Carrie Ann says it was probably a mower. That's my thoughts too. Red Dragon NZT says, are violet headlights which is blinding anyone coming against legal? No, violet is not white. You can only have white headlights. You can have amber fog lights, but your proper headlight has to be white. Even if you were to, any tint would be illegal. Any tint. All right, let's see what's going on here. See if there's any questions that have come in through Instagram, and I don't see any. We talked to Keenan about phones earlier, but that was that. Not a lot of questions coming through. I'm disappointed, Instagram. Okay. I think what is this? Oh, end user says, I think he let me off because he actually had no proof that I was going 150 because he was tailing me. I didn't see the first half of your question, which means that TikTok may have flagged it. Does that mean that you were speeding more than 100, more than 50 over? You were not pulled over, or you were pulled over and not charged? Is that what you're alleging? I think that many officers who are not traffic enforcement officers as specialists, or they're newer, may not feel comfortable using pacing to lay a charge. But the truth is, it's easy peasy to lay a charge and get a conviction for speeding, even if you don't have speed measurement equipment on board. Simply following the vehicle for a reasonable amount of time, pacing is easy. And the truth is, if you went by like lightning, and I never even paced you, but I had to do 180 to catch up to you, I think that would be grounds to lay charges of not only speeding, but possibly stunt and or dangerous driving. So you're very lucky that you either got some combination of someone who didn't feel comfortable laying the charge because their newness, or because he just thought he'd be really nice to you. I don't know, or I don't know enough about your story because I only have that one portion that I read. It's interesting. It's interesting. Okay, let's see here. Jerry Joe asked a clarifying question about U-turns. We'll put that on screen. Can you make a U-turn at a signal where both traffic lights are forward arrows and not a solid green? So could you make so it's an advanced green. Could you make if it's not prohibited by sign saying, if there's nothing saying you can't do it, there are places that it's absolutely prohibited. Like regardless of signage, you can't make a U-turn in front of a railway crossing. You can't use a tunnel, viaduct, bridge. Can't do it there. So if your light is there, no, you can't. What else? Crest of grade where there's no visibility, curve where there's no visibility. So regardless of anything else, in those scenarios, you can't. What you're suggesting, where you have an advanced, I don't see a problem if you can do it safely and there's no sign prohibiting it. Let's see here. We got a quote here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to hit the button so we have our dad jokes queued up. And end user says, apparently, yes, it was a OPP. He was really reasonable. So he was just really being nice to you. Okay, you're very lucky. And maybe because he didn't want to lay a charge and have to ruin your day with a seizing of your vehicle. I mean, you got very lucky, my friend. Can I be compensated for lost wages if I am summoned as a witness for traffic incident? If you are from out of town, you would be not summoned. You wouldn't get lost wages. You might get travel expense. You might get minor. But if you live in the city and work in the city of Toronto, I don't think you get anything. Yeah, it's not nice. Now, most employers will allow you to attend court while you're at work, but sometimes it's not very fun to go and be a witness when you're losing money. But you don't get lost wages, no. And user lots of numbers says, I miss regular traffic cops. Now they are all would-be DEA or DUI experts. What? You missed regular traffic cops and not the ones who happen to be drug recognition experts or impaired driving? Why? What's wrong with that? They know more. They catch more people, unless you're the drunk or the drug user who's driving and you don't like getting caught. I'm not sure how to interpret that, but either way, I'm glad that they are experts. I'm glad that they're out there making roads safer for everybody and keeping the bad folk who are putting lives at risk through impaired operation, well, hopefully never driving again, because that should happen. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. We got dad joke. Why was this one might be one you've heard before. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. I actually meant to hit the rim shot there. Even though everybody has already heard that, I hope everyone's heard that joke. If you haven't, now you have. Oh. Okay. There's a follow-up to this that I've never heard. Why did 7 eat 9? Because 7 likes 3 squared meals. Okay. For the 3 people who laughed at that one. Yeah. I've never heard that one, though, I must say. Dad joke. Why did the man quit his job at the donut shop? He was just tired of the whole concept. I like that. That's actually cute. And then we've got a quote from a killer Dakota. So, by the way, if you have any dad jokes, and I see Tim who just sent one on screen, I'll get to that in a sec. Any dad jokes, by all means, share them. I love them. The quote is, we desire nothing so much as what we ought not to have. Publius Sirius Maximus? Publius? Sirius Maximus. Oh, I said Maximus. It's Maximus. Anyway, me not who know who that is, unless he was the guy from Gladiator. I'm not down with the history of that quote. Okay. Jerry Joe was going to ask questions about the most rewarding call or situation you've been to. What do you miss most? Oh, that's a very long and involved question while I'm trying to say goodbye. A very, and thank you you're very welcome. I'm very proud of my service with the Toronto Police. It was a great 24 years in various capacities. But I loved every second of it. There's so many calls, but my favorite, my most rewarding single set of things was working the Invictus Games. I think it was 2017 was by far the most amazing stuff. Working with the OPP, my partners there, great people I worked with, other motor squad officers, and just meeting heroes from around the world. Just people who gave so much, and are still, fighting the good fight. Okay. Tim says, why was 10 afraid between 9 and 11? I don't see a punchline here. I see the joke without the blast, which I don't have the answer to give everybody. So we'll have to leave you all hanging. But I'm going to wrap the show. Thanks so much. I'm so happy to spend some time with you. Thanks to Jerry Agar and the gang, and of course, thanks to my friends at Diamond and Diamond Lawyers, and they're magical, awesome people who help keep the show going. My thanks to them. My thanks to Barrett Legal, and my thanks to you for spending time with me. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Ask a Traffic Cop After Dark, where we do this all over again, a little more relaxed. Of course, we can also have guests on screen. If you know somebody who wants to join the show and talk about stuff and things, let me know. askatrafficcop@gmail.com. Have a good one. Oh yeah, drive safe, drive sober. Don't do illegal stuff. It's bad.